Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. I've got the day off work today. I had planned on doing some work in my garden, but it's pouring with rain. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to make a video today. And what I'm going to talk about today is an issue that seems to come up quite a lot within the tinnitus community. I have had a post from Sarah Louise. Hi Sarah, by the way. I understand you're having cranial sacral therapy and that you're finding it helpful. So please keep me updated on that, and I'm very pleased to hear that it's helping you. That's great. But Sarah Louise sent me a post about an issue that seems to, like I say, seems to come up quite a bit. Negativity from other people. Negativity. What am I talking about? What I'm talking about is forums. A lot of the tinnitus forums out there, I've been on 2, and I won't be returning to them, because what I found and what I seem to hear from other people, and Sarah, I know you have experienced this, but you actually got involved because you actually got involved by trying to talk to some of these people via the forum, and you actually put yourself out there trying to put a positive message out there that, you know, there are things that you can do to help with your tinnitus. You don't have to suffer with it. And that you believe, as I do myself, that we can get to a state with our tinnitus where we are nearing recovery. We're on a road to recovery. What do I mean by recovery? Let's get that cleared up straight away. What I mean by recovery is, for me, my thoughts on recovery. What do I mean by that? I have experienced, firstly, moments of what felt like true silence, then hours, then I had a day. You've heard me speak about this before. I had a day where I had a whole day of what felt like true peace and true silence, and that's what I'm going to call it. Well, a lot of people, and this is kind of ties into what this is going to be about, this video. This kind of ties into this. When I say this, true peace, true silence, I had some negativity thrown my way for saying this. This is usually by people who are so stuck in their own suffering, and they are suffering. I understand that, they are suffering. Sometimes people don't like to hear that others are making progress, Sarah. So when you put yourself out there and you said that you're finding methods that help you and you want to get on a path to recovery, you had a very negative response from people. Some of them calling you crazy or mad or just being insulting. And this is what I would say to you, Sarah, about this. Don't go on them. Don't go on these forums. Okay. Like I say, I went on 2. I didn't enter into any. I didn't get involved. I didn't get into any discussions with them because it's pointless. Some people, as I say, are so stuck with their tinnitus. They're not making any progress. They're so doom and gloom. They're in a bad place, and they don't like to hear others are making progress. So firstly, don't go on these forums. That's the first thing, because I from your post I know you had a lot of quite bad and insulting comments made to you. So firstly, don't go on them. Okay. The second thing is, you had someone in your close family, very close family, who keeps telling you, because you've told me this a couple of times now, and I can understand why it's upsetting. I would be upset if one of my close family was saying what you've been hearing to me. It would upset me. I won't say who this relative is, that's up to you if you want to put that out there. But you have said that this close family relative to you keeps telling you in no uncertain terms, there's no cure, Sarah, there's no cure, you know, and they keep telling you this, and when you've tried to say to them, well, I'm finding methods that work for me, you know, I'm finding things that are helping me, and I watch this guy Aid on YouTube and this other guy Gray on YouTube, and they're telling me, you know, that I can do things to help me, and you know, and this person keeps saying to you there's no cure. This is not helpful, and I'm quite shocked and upset that such a close relative would say these things to you. Now firstly, and the reason I'm making this video is for other people that are also experiencing this, but you in particular, Sarah, because you contacted me about it. Other people who have not got tinnitus, whether they be family members or not, they do not truly understand how tinnitus manifests itself, how it feels. All they know is you hear a noise in your head. When I first got tinnitus, my mum and my sister just said, oh, tinnitus, that's kind of like a bit of ringing in the ears, because they didn't really understand what it was about. Okay? But once I explained it to them, and obviously they know exactly what's going on with me now, they are, you know, my mum and my sister, they are supportive, they are not negative towards me. They don't talk to me too much about it because they know that if talking about it can sometimes make my mind seek it out. So they only talk to me about it if I bring it up, okay? But I cannot imagine them ever saying to me, there's no cure, live with it, okay? Now, this relative that is saying this to you, this is upsetting, and they need to stop doing this. And if you want to, I'm perfectly open to this, and it's entirely up to you, but please get them to contact me, and I will talk to them, because if they keep saying to you there's no cure, that's not going to help you at all, and I don't like that very much. And firstly, they don't know how it manifests itself, they haven't got it, they don't understand it, so they can't make a judgment for you, okay? Now onto this thing about there's no cure. There's no cure. Right. There is no pill that you can take to cure tinnitus. There is no medical procedure at this time that can cure tinnitus, or has been proved to cure tinnitus. The medical world are working on it. They are working on it. I've seen quite a lot of information out there. The medical world, they are starting to get a grasp of tinnitus, and that it is a condition of the brain, and they are starting to look at ways of helping us. There was a video recently, I did put a link up to it, where a professor, his last words on it is, you know, we haven't got something for you to the tinnitus community. We aren't there yet with a cure, you know, but help is on the way. They were his words. Help is on the way. Okay, so at the moment, no. There is no specific pill, medical procedure that will cure you of your tinnitus. Now, this does not mean, because the medical world hasn't got to this stage where they have something for us, this does not mean a cure does not exist. All it means is it hasn't been discovered yet. And I did write a post. Every illness, disease, condition that mankind has ever had thrust upon it, okay, at some point in time there was no cure for it, anything, until it's discovered. Penicillin, there didn't used to be penicillin, until by accident someone found that on growing this particular type of fungus that they could create penicillin, Okay, so until it's discovered, no, it doesn't. We haven't got it. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Okay, it's finding the cure and finding things that help. Okay, now to keep telling you there's no cure, what they really mean is, and this goes for doctors as well that tell you this, and I've spoken about this a lot. Okay, doctors in particular. The first doctor that I said, the first thing she said to me was, there's no cure, like you, Sarah, there's no cure, but this is a doctor, not a family member. There's no cure, it's permanent, and you will just have to live with it. That's not helpful. That's almost like saying to somebody, you're going to have to suffer this Chinese water torture for the rest of your living days. It is not helpful. But what they really mean is, when they say this, what they really mean is, and she was wrong anyway, because she kept telling me it was my ear. This particular doctor, she kept telling me that it was my ear, and I said, well, I have heard that it can be the brain is involved. And she looked at me like I was an idiot, right? And I said, well, this is what I've heard. And she said to me, well, what are you trying to tell me, Mr. Dickinson? What are you trying to tell me, that it's your brain and not your ear? And I said, well, this is what I've heard. And she was, and this is a doctor, and she was dismissive of that and basically saying, you know, don't be stupid, I'm a doctor, I know what I'm talking about. Well, sometimes they don't, and sometimes they're wrong, and they don't know everything, right? And she is wrong anyway, this particular doctor, as I've found the methods that work, meeting people like Julian, Andrew Parr, and finding ways to calm my nervous system. I know that a cure is possible because I have experienced 3 entire days of, and I'm going to call it, true silence and true peace. Now, as I said before, even if this means that the tinnitus was so far away in the background, my mind had put it so far in the subconscious of my mind that it wasn't detectable, that's not important really. The important part was, for 3 days I didn't have tinnitus. Now, this is what I mean by cure. If my mind is capable of putting this noise into my subconscious, into such a place where it's not detectable to me for 3 entire days, this proves that the brain is capable of removing this sound that we hear as tinnitus. Our brains are capable of removing this sound we hear as tinnitus from our conscious thought. And that is good enough. That, I would say, if you can get your mind to a position where this state, where it's not in your conscious thought, is permanent, that's a cure to me. That's cured, okay, or as good as. Even if the condition, even if the tinnitus returns, Julian sometimes does say, when he has a cold, that the tinnitus does return to him. Apart from that, he has a tinnitus-free life. I've met him. I've spoken to Julian about this. First thing that Julian said to me was, "It's not a permanent condition, don't worry." That was his first words to me. "It's not a permanent condition, Adrian, don't worry." That is so much more helpful and encouraging than somebody saying to you, "There's no cure, just live with it for the rest of your life." And this is why I get quite upset and annoyed about this kind of attitude. It's not helpful, particularly coming from a family member. Is very, very upsetting. So please, Sarah, if this continues, please ask this relative to get in touch with me, and I will speak to them, you know, and I will try and get them to watch my video. I had 3 entire days of silence, and like I say, if your brain is capable of doing it for that amount of time, it's capable of doing it for longer, as Julian Cohen-Hill has done, and Julian Cohen-Hill can say he is cured. Alright? So please stop going on these negative forums. They won't help you. And people that keep telling you there's no cure, it's not true. They just don't know. It's not. There's no specific medical cure that has. It's just not been discovered yet. At some point, the medical world will really get a grasp on tinnitus and how to deal with it, and there will be a procedure or a method that you can go to, and they will help you with it to get rid of this sound from your conscious thought. At the present time, we're going to have to do it ourselves, but we can do it. I'm doing it. Julian has done it. I'm on my road to recovery. Today my tinnitus is it's so far in the background I can hardly even, like now as I'm talking to the camera, usually when I talk about it my mind seems to seek it out, but this is getting less frequent. Like now I'm talking about it, Ju, I can't hear it. I can't hear it. I still tend to hear it when I go to bed. You know, that's when I will hear the noise that I hear, which is high-pitched squeal. When I go to bed, that's when I will notice it more. I've spoken about this before. But yeah, really the whole point of this video was particularly for you, Sarah, but to put the message out there to everybody. Please don't go on these type of forums. If you do and you try and tell people, you know, there are things that can help you. Getting a lot of you know, insults and being told you're crazy, you're mad, you don't know what you're talking about, or even worse, which is what happened to me. I was told I don't have tinnitus, I can't have tinnitus, I'm not a sufferer, I'm not a sufferer. One of the reasons given to me was this so pathetic, because I ride a motorcycle, it's impossible that I could be a tinnitus sufferer. These type of people, okay, they are so stuck, they are suffering so much, you know, and they are suffering, but they don't like to hear of anybody else that's making progress, so don't get involved with them. That's my advice. But to this family member in particular, Sarah, if this continues, this is not going to help you. Get them to watch my videos or get them to contact me, and I will try and help explain that there are things that can help, and they need to stop making you feel like this, because it's not fair and it's not helpful. Okay, I think that's it. I just wanted to put that out there today because it's raining. Best wishes to everybody. And I will be doing the meditation videos, by the way, the self-hypnosis. Wow, I wasn't expecting this kind of response. I've sent as much as I can out this week. I think I've done at least 25, 30 to people of these meditation files that I've sent out. So I'm really happy that you know, you seem to want them, and I've had some feedback that they're helping you now, because that's the whole point of it, and that's really good news and encouraging, so that's great. Alright, thank you everybody for watching this little rant about negativity and negative people. You know, it just does upset me and annoy me, particularly when it's a family member telling you this. You need support, that's what you need. And positivity, not the opposite. Right, thank you everybody, best wishes to all of you, and I will be speaking to you again soon. Bye bye.